All right, we are live, and the New York Mets have acquired Michael Tonkin, emergency podcast, how to gather the brains. Nope, we have an emergency pod. Juan Soto to the Yankees. This emergency pod was called by Kevin Clancy, who spent his formative years behind enemy lines in the Bronx. So, Kevin, I'm going to turn the floor over to you right now, and just let your thoughts out.
Bro, this is a disaster. This makes me feel like the A-Rod, Giambi, Sheffield years where it was like they are going to have the best fucking guy. I remember feeling this way about Mike Stanton and being like, fuck, Mike Stanton is going to be a generational slugger and he's going to do it all in his prime on the Yankees. And that obviously went to shit. But this is just a horse of a different color. Juan Soto is the one. He is the guy. And I just can't believe that fucking Padres owner died. That guy fucked us. That guy fucked us. Because for years we were just like, how is San Diego spending all this money? And we just found out it was some fucking old dying dude who didn't have any money to spend, and then they got to shed everything. And because of that, Juan Soto ends up in pinstripes. It's there's just no spin in it. There's no way around it. I continue to think that like there's something about being a Mets fan, whether it's because you're in the New York market or because we're in the goddamn Truman Show. Every important thing in baseball like somehow affects us. Like, why can't you just go sign with the fucking Mariners? Just get out of my life. You know? Get out. Why does it have to be the best generational player ends up cross town? And you know what? It was like we've had it as a Yankee hater. It's been a dynasty. I think we're on 21 of 22 years now, no championships. The Steinbrenners continue to embarrass themselves. Cashman, needs to be put out to pasture. All these things are true. But at some point, the Yankees were going to Yankee again. At some point, they had to return to their old selves. And unfortunately, they finally decided to do it on the absolute right guy. And I don't even know or care what they gave up for him. Makes zero difference. Nobody, no package would have mattered. I don't care who, they had, anybody should have given up everything for that guy. And it's going to be absolutely soul crushing to know that, the next Ted Williams career will be crosstown and we've got to watch it all. It's fucking brutal. And the fact that they get him, listen, is he talking extensions? No. Are they going to keep him? I would think it's a very heavy, obvious yes. Although I will say this, and this is where I will challenge Steve Cohen. If I was a Mets fan, like Steve Cohen is, all my life, and if I became a billionaire, and then I bought the team, and then there was a chance to stick it in the best way ever, to stick it to the Yankees and just do whatever it takes. Like the Yankees, like, here's $500 million, and Steve just says, here's $6 million. And when the Yankees say, here's $6 million, Steve says, here's $750 million. And I don't care what it takes. There is no better. There's no better way. Like that would be the ultimate way to fuck the Yankees and their fans. It's Juan Soto. He's worth the money. He's the greatest player, of this generation. They got a taste of him. They want him long-term. And Steve just does something, like CBA rule-changing type shit. Like we gave him $1 billion. And obviously, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's highly unlikely. But I would say this. If you're going to buy a team, it's for these moments. So, I don't have any hope that happens. But I'm just saying that's what I would do if I was in this spot. And now, the fact that they don't have to spend the money and they're just going to go after Yamamoto now, too. You get it. It was never like the Mets had a chance to get Soto. But we're all kind of in an arms race, being all big market teams with big owners. And if the Yankees go get Soto and Yamamoto, this fan base is you're going to be fucking hearing it. And on the other side of it, I don't know, what I hope they do one way or the other, I hope they really are very transparent with the fans one way or the other, because I think he's very logical. As much as people think like, oh, he's throwing around his money, he really doesn't and hasn't done that yet. And I don't think there's like reason to believe he will do so recklessly. So if they are just sitting there like, listen, we had an unexpected quick shot at a title. It didn't work. We made a quick run at it. It blew up. We are now back to building the infrastructure, turning this whole thing around. I'm sure they're still undoing tons of shit from the Wilpons years, business-wise, personnel-wise, players-wise, all that shit. And if they're just like, listen, we have so long to go before we really have this thing where we need it to be. We're not in the window of spending $300 million on Yamamoto and going after Ohtani and going after Soto and going after these guys. Like, we are in a different mode. If they like clearly explain that and talk to the fans like that, I know that, these type of fans are like, can understand that. The Frank the Tank fans will never listen and they'll just scream and stamp their feet the whole time. But if like you're not going to get anybody and you don't extend Pete and you just leave everything kind of like in the wind and nobody knows what's going on, it will get ugly real fast. Real ugly real fast. And it's one thing when the Dodgers are doing it, other teams are building up, the shit with the Rangers happens. It's all whatever, because it's just gone. When it starts to happen in the Bronx is that's when you are officially like, welcome to New York, Steve Cohen. I say that, he's been here his whole life, but like, welcome to the Mets now, because now you have Mets fans riled up over not just their team and baseball, but the Yankees. And they've got the most coveted player that everybody wanted, and they went and got it done. So I don't know what's next. I don't know if do you get Yamamoto because A, you need him and you want him and he's good? Do you get him just because of PR? You got to keep up with the Joneses. What do you do? I don't know. But all I know is it's going to suck dick to watch Juan Soto on the Yankees for the next 15 years. I think we're in an Albert Pujols situation, by the way. I've been floating that out there, and I didn't want to say it because I was thinking maybe there's a way that he comes to our team. But I'm going to just say it now. Juan Soto is like 30. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way he's 22. It's not possible.
I'm glad you said that, because I thought you were saying he was going there and he was going to fall off like Albert Pujols. I'm like, I got news for you.
No,
yeah, I can see that.
But when he signs like a 15-year deal and it falls apart sooner than later, you're still going to get like 7 years of greatness. But he's not 24. It's not how it works.
I'll go around the panel, see how everyone's feeling, but I just have to get one other Clancy's opinion. What was Mama Clancy feeling when this?
Oh my God! So both of us, we both did the same thing. I just spoke to her on my ride in. Very depressed, like one of those. We pick up the phone and she just goes, "Hello," and I go, "Yeah," and we both did the same thing. I passed out early last night. She woke up at 3:30. I woke up at 2:48 to the news. So we both had a late night rollover and scroll to see that the news went final. She is very depressed. She was like back in the basement of the baseball doldrums where we belong, like a bunch of fucking losers. She really hates the Yankees, like maybe even more than me. It was like I had not felt that low in a while, I guess, since 6 months ago. But
and she's behind enemy lines still right now. She's in the BX, right?
Yeah,
and you're in fucking
she's
cozy
always,
White Plains right now.
When she goes to like the laundromat, the grocery store, the this, the that, she runs into all these skells all the time. All her friends in the Bronx are all still fans.
The baker, the butcher, and everybody are fucking Yankees fans.
Exactly.
In her world. They're not.
I feel so bad for her. I got to get her out of there, man. It's like Extraction. I'm gonna go in there and save the victim.
You're the dude in the meme. I'm gonna save you from this place. I'm gonna get you out of here.
Yeah, I do. I got the money now. I'm gonna buy you a house now. I'll put you in Queens. I will say this also. I guess there's no way to know exactly, but like, stop announcing or signing bullshit players on big days for other teams. It just is internet fodder. When the fucking Twitter account is like, breaking news, the Mets have signed fucking Tonka trucks. Like, I don't even know the fuck this guy is. We don't give a fuck. You look like assholes. And it just gives all of them all the ammunition they need. So stop that shit. PR 101.
Yeah, and like we said, the City Field announcement that I sent you guys, which I mean, that's great. That's like the City Field account. You have to be a sick, twisted baseball fuck, but all you need is the wrong person to pull that up and be like, we have a huge announcement coming tomorrow, and then it's Journey and who? Who is it? Journey? Listen,
I don't even.
Journey puts on a hell of a show.
A concert.
They have a guy from the Philippines who sounds just like Steve Perry. It's incredible. It's mind blowing shit. Nonetheless, you can't be announcing that when Juan Soto is in pinstripes. So
terrible.
I'm with you on that, Phil. Either talk us off the ledge or push anyone still on the ledge off. Do the weak Phil thing right now.
I mean, it sucks. It's something that we couldn't compete with because the Padres wanted pitching prospects, and
nobody has any pitching prospects, huh? Nobody else could step up. Nobody had it.
We have 17 second basemen. We have the top 17 second baseman prospects in baseball.
The Blue Jays' interest wasn't as serious because I think they're more interested in Ohtani. Which that could be a double whammy because say Ohtani goes to the Blue Jays, then the Dodgers just have an empty checkbook for Yamamoto, and that could be a double whammy for us. So I don't know what you're looking for in that case.
I was asking you guys, Kyle, you go ahead and explain where you're at, and then I'll.
Well, I tweeted out the second it broke. I was like, Juan Soto is living Bryce Harper's best life because he won the World Series with the Nats, and now he's playing for the Yankees. It's like he's living in like the glitch in the Matrix. If he goes somewhere else and he depleted their farm and they don't win, then great. Then it's like hindsight's 2020. The Mets were never going to get him. I understand that. I hope that they're setting aside all of this money to try to sign him long-term, and that's what stops them from getting Yamamoto. What else can you really say at that point, though? There's no spin zone of this working for us in our favor. They already got him. I saw someone go, well, he sucked for the Padres for like those couple months because he was trying to pull the ball. Maybe he's going to try to hit it into the short porch and have a down year. It's like, no, he's going to have 35 home runs. He's going to hit 280 at least. And he's going to fucking now. And him and Judge batting back to back just fucking suck.
I know. But you know what? I mean, the Padres lineup was, just as stacked. It's not like he never had anybody protecting him. I know Judge is not.
No, but like Judge with Stanton, and Stanton's like a shell of his former self. Judge has no protection. Now he's got tons of protection. Yeah.
Kev's going through it. Kev.
Dude, this is like I'm relapsing, Like it's been a long time. Even like I said, Mike Stanton didn't work out. Garrett Cole, like he's been good, but like it was supposed to kind of be like the last piece to get him over the hump, and that didn't work. So we've had some nice kind of relaxed years.
I will say
Juan Soto is just a different beast.
Giambi, Sheffield, all those years, they didn't win though. They know the best team on paper in baseball, and they didn't win. This team, but they have holes still. Like Soto's not filling a lot of these.
Totally, that is true.
Thankfully,
they were they had a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad on that team. I get that, but it was more like it was after the 4 rings.
Yeah.
Then they got A-Rod and Giambi and Sheffield in whatever order, and it was like I remember as a Yankee hater being like, I don't know what to do. Like it's never ending. And this is only one guy, but he's like the guy. But really, when you think about it back then, like A-Rod was like, Soto. And it's like they got him and this guy and this guy and this guy. It was insane. It's nuts that they weren't winning. Those teams should have won 10 championships.
That was like fucking right before advanced analytics, and they were just like, oh, these guys are really great all-stars, but overall, like, it didn't mesh.
It never came together, yeah.
But Soto is the Harper that we were worried about. Like, fucking, if he hits 45 home runs or whatever, he puts up career numbers in that short stadium, you telling me he's not going to continue?
Yeah. No, he's going to be awesome. I mean, he's probably only going to get better. Especially once he like does sign, he's like, all right, I'm here. Like, I know where I'm at. I know where my career's at. I'm turning 35 soon.
He's about to be a grandpa. Congratulations, Juan Soto.
I mean,
It's gonna be fine, Kevin. Kevin, it's gonna be fine. Settle down. Meek, I don't have the info in front of me. Who is Juan Soto's agent?
Scott Boras.
What does Scott Boras do with every big name client that means a fucking
Usually
thing?
takes them to free agency, and with the Nationals, he already declined the whole $440 million. So,
And that was with 2 years left on his contract?
yeah. Realistically, any Soto extension, realistically, in my opinion, starts with a 5. So
Yeah. And
I don't think that's happening.
what's Scott Boras going to want to do with Juan Soto if he goes to the short porch, hits 50 home runs, and has the Yankees needing to sign him because they just, emptied the farm for him, the Mets who are going to want to sign him so the Yankees don't have the guy that, everyone was dreaming of now that Ohtani's gone, and then like the Dodgers, the Red Sox, and any other market team that, big market team that wants to spend money to, improve their team and prove to their families. Do you think Scott Boras is going to be like, no, let's just take it safe, Juan? Let's just fucking take care of your little grandkids right now, and let's just get, an IRA set up for you. He is going to try to set, like demolish the record and make it to a point where, the A-Rod contract seems like peanuts 20 years ago.
And they even swing that? They can't even swing that with Cole and Judge.
So that's what I was wondering. So, here's the deal. Especially if they're talking about going after Yamamoto, and you guys are saying it's going to be $300 million, Hal Steinbrenner and the gang are going to spend $600 million on this guy after.
I think the Mets have to get to $300 million. The way the Yamamoto's working, let's say Ohtani goes to the Dodgers and Yamamoto sweepstakes, it's just Mets and Yankees. I think the Mets have to spend, I want to say, $310, and the Yankees have to get to $250 in order for him to go to the Mets. I think we have to significantly outbid the Yankees to get Yamamoto.
Why?
But Kyle can maybe say it, but
it's the Yankee prestige over in Japan. You have Matsui and Tanaka, and it's just think about it. They only know 3 teams over there, and it's the Dodgers, the Yankees, and then
the Japanese World Baseball Classic team.
Yeah.
The three most important teams in baseball.
It's entirely different from the Ohtani free agency in 2017, where it's I don't want to play in a big market. I don't want to I want to be in Anaheim where no one cares. Yamamoto wants to play in a big city, wants to be on a big stage. He cares more about being on an iconic franchise than.
And I think you have to pay a premium to get him to this coast versus West Coast.
I almost hope he I don't know. I've been asking how good is he, and it sounds like the Japanese leagues have gotten good enough where they're a professional league in their own right. So if you're the best over there, at the very least, you're going to be good over here. It kind of used to be you might get fucking Keigawa. You might get, Senga. You never know. It's kind of a crapshoot. But now it seems like you're going to be, at least solid no matter what. But it does feel, to me at least, maybe the real baseball insiders have been hearing his name for years, the way that we heard Ohtani for years. But Yamamoto seems kind of to be, the new name out of nowhere. And now all of a sudden we've decided he's, you have to have this guy. I don't know. It seems like it's a big number for a guy that, I hope he pans out. But
it's more because he's 25 years old and pitchers don't hit the market at 25.
Right.
Kev,
right.
I'm going to ask you to just go back. This is could be considered torture by the Geneva Convention, and just rewatch this last season and our starting pitching. We just need to start. We need
well, that's the other thing. We just need some. Yeah. So listen, I'm fine with blowing the bag. That's okay with me. I just, it can't be the only thing we do. You gotta. Again, if Steve Cohen came out and was just we as a team, our championship window is not open. So why are we are not in the mode of spending $300, $400, $500 million on these guys right now? We just signed our first, solid real president. We are building up the entire, literally the infrastructure of the fucking physical buildings around it. And we are on that original 10-year plan, give it 5 years and we'll have all the prospects we need to get these next guys, the next ones up, the next big free agents. That communication is there. I would be okay with it because it does feel right now it's it's not even the Yankees. The Yankees will be good and better with Soto, but to me, it's not that puts them over the top. Sometimes I am are we ready to compete with the Dodgers? Are we ready to compete with the Astros? Are we ready to compete with, even the Rangers now?
It's baseball. All you gotta do is win 84 games.
I know.
That's the thing, yeah.
The Diamondbacks yeah, man, we're fucking ready right now.
I know, but but that's where it's that's if you're playing to be like the one-off. Like I know that Cohen and company want it to be like we're there, we win the division 10 years in a row, and we got to get there. Like the longer, if the ultimate plan is to be one of those machines, every single year that you do one of these, Band-Aids is 1 year further that you're to that machine. So like I can understand it. I would love some sort of hybrid, which is what they did last year, and it just didn't. It failed miserably. But the idea of like, let's go get this guy on a short-term deal and try to go all in. Oh, it didn't work. We still have all these prospects. We still have a lean payroll. But that all changes when you start giving out $300 million deals.
I can see them looking at Senga and being like, well, he translated this way
So
and
well,
he's
yeah.
all-star. This guy's better than him and younger.
Yeah.
Makes more
that's
sense
true.
on paper for that. But like the other thing is the way that this whole thing is like setting up. If they don't get him, we're going to be in the same boat as last year, which is like, who the fuck else do we get? And then it's just like the middling guys who like aren't going to make an impact moving forward. At least this one, you can turn around and say, well, we have him for like the next 9 years where the window will happen and he'll be in his prime. And like, you can make more of a point that they need to overpay for this guy than anybody else.
Now, I'll say this too.
An hour is the other thing. Like, you don't know what the situation. He threw 130 something pitches 2 months ago because they played their championship in fucking, I don't know, October, November, whatever it was.
Yeah,
that's the other thing you got to worry about.
I get the whole Yankee allure thing with them. I also have to imagine though, in Japanese culture, Steve Cohen flying over there, taking him out to a nice French lunch or whatever the fuck it was.
French Japanese, Kevin.
I don't even know, Clem. I don't even know what that means.
Dude, I had to look up what French food is because I'll be honest, boys, it's not going to surprise you. I've never been to a French restaurant in my life. I know it's like foie gras, fucking duck liver and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then you're doing Japanese. It's like that's sushi. That's some sort of, some, I don't know, teriyaki, like a Japanese thing. But you're dealing with some incredible combinations. That must be delicious, right?
I would have to imagine French Japanese is such a ridiculous thing that it's like all Michelin star. You know what? I just had visions though. When I saw that, I pictured Steve and Yamamoto doing hibachi together, like shooting the water in his mouth, doing the egg roll and the volcano and shit. That would be hilarious.
Dude, me and Eddie were trying to get Portnoy to take us to a hibachi dinner for the dozen tournament last year, like a victory dinner after round 1. And we were like, hey, Dave, you want to go? And he didn't really hear us. He's like, yeah, we'll go out to dinner. And then at the telethon, he goes, I love hibachi. There was a question Jeff asked, and he goes, Benihana. He goes, hibachi is like my favorite thing in the world. I'm like, Dave Portnoy at hibachi. Because when Portnoy likes something, there's nothing more fun. I need to go to hibachi with Portnoy now just to see him when the onion goes up. The guy throws the egg roll. He makes the egg roll on it. He throws it in his hat.
I would think he would be the guy being like, oh, yeah. Like, get to it. Like, give me the food. Give me the food. I love the pageantry. I wish it was like everything's Wagyu beef and like, the most expensive sushis and shit, but it's still in the hibachi setting. Steve Cohen and Yamamoto just, talking through interpreters trying to get it. But I really do think that has to go a long way to be like, I fucking flew to Japan to be like, bro, there is something. I really believe that like it's a worldwide game and life now, where it's like Steve Cohen is a worldwide billionaire. Like, I think you get in a room with that guy and it's like, yeah, there's Yankee allure and all that, but like I am starting that here now and you'll be a part of that. And like, I am a legendarily known billionaire in this world. Like, I will take you to the top. We will do this, the same way that they had done it before. Hal Steinbrenner doesn't have that same, allure, that same respect, that same whatever you want to call it.
You know what I kind of get the vibes of, and this could be way off, but I almost feel like if you guys saw Air with Michael Jordan, with the Jordan movie, where it's like Adidas and Converse were kind of like the Yankees and the Dodgers, or these massive fucking brands, and like Nike's like, listen, we're going to be something, I promise you, and you are a fucking dude. We're going to start it with you, and I mean, obviously we have Lindor, Pete, and it's not like he's starting Senga here already, but it's like, you're our guy and we're going to grow. Whether or not we turn into Nike or not, that's up to him and a lot of shit. But I really did feel like, You see the Juan Soto news going to the Yankees. You hear that like the Yankees that die, all these people are in Yamamoto. The fucking Mariners give Kelenic to the fucking Braves. So it's like we are just down bad right now. And then I'm like, are the Mariners opening up money for Yamamoto? And that would just be a double whammy. And we're all just down bad. And then I hear Steve Cohen flew to Japan to meet this guy to a dinner that would probably break my brain. It's so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I said, it was like Winston Wolfe in Pulp Fiction. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you feel better now? It's like, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, the guy's coming in, going to take care of everything. Uncle Stevie's going to tuck us into bed, kiss us on the head, and tell us goodnight. Like, that's how I feel.
Sometimes I wonder, like, Steve Cohen, when you look at it, has not really spent, right? Like, he has not done the Steve Cohen thing that we all kind of joke about all the time, like just throwing your wallet around. He was cautious with Correa, you know. He made moves, but nothing
Short term with the
short term. And
Lindor was the only big
money.
one.
The money he did give out was like to solid players who like we need, but not like big. Like they were retaining guys. He has not done that yet, and I wonder. You know, people are always like, "Oh, where's that money you talk about?" And it's like, that's not his style. It has not been his style yet. So, like, you know, maybe we're all asking for something that, like, he is committed to doing it the slow and steady, correct way. But again, that just needs to then be communicated, because it does feel like, you know, we kind of let this image of Uncle Stevie, the money bags, Uncle Scrooge thing go. If you're not going to be that because you have other plans, like, all good, but you just can't let that be the vibe in the fan base. You got to let us know that, like, no, I'm not going to just go spend right now just for the sake of spending. But yeah, I think in this case, we need the pitching. He's the guy. It would check every box.
It gets lost too, because he's spending he broke the AAV record back-to-back years in matching Max and JV, but it's like, it's just for like the accounting year. And then he's like, oh, it's off the books. Now we have money left over for the next guy. Like, he is very much the financial moving shit around type of situation versus like, I'm not strapping myself to this bum horse. I'm not going to tank the entire thing on this. So
Correa, which, I mean, he did.
Yeah.
He was ready to do that. And then he goes, wait, there's a red flag here. I don't want to get, you know.
Kumar Rocker, same thing, like $1 million. And he's like, nope. It's a million too much if I know your elbow is going to explode.
I mean, if it's not Yamamoto, is there any, like, what else do you do for pitching? Is there anything?
Some names: Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell.
There's another guy in Japan, Shada. I don't know how to say his last name. He's a lefty.
Listen,
they're trying to get them both.
I know. If you go get a Japanese pitcher and it's not Yamamoto right now, you're gonna fucking hear it.
Yep.
Blake Snell I would be okay with Blake Snell.
I have a question for you guys. Is it problematic if we get Yamamoto, we have Senga, and whether or not we get a manga? Hibachi Brothers, can we do Hibachi Brothers shirts? We have the
My hands are tied.
That's what we're going to celebrate.
You can't.
Like, it's the Splash Brothers, but it's, you know, a different sport. They throw fast. Like the volcano with the fucking hibachi.
We'll have the fire. It's just, you know, I mean, no disrespect by it to the Japanese culture. We can talk about it. I want to have an open discourse about, you know, ethnic stuff. We mean nothing but respect with the Hibachi Bros.
Meanwhile, Tommy DeVito is just a walking meme with the fucking pinch fingers and everything here. Phil, now this is, I don't know if Phil would know, like, I'm sure there's not a lot of names out there, but I do think whether or not they get Yamamoto, I think they're going to potentially fill their other needs. Like, all the guys we didn't trade for Juan Soto, we can now trade for another pitcher. Like, they're still going to move some pitchers. I don't know how many teams want to trade pitchers, but I think that could be the case.
So I'd rule them out and say, like, they don't want to trade for rentals, Stern said. So Glass now, that's a no. I don't even think it's all that good. Corbin Burns, unlikely. He's a rental. Maybe Dylan Cease if you match up on guys, but I don't know.
Okay.
This is the thing about baseball. This is what sucks is when I was younger, I've always said this. I always was like, pitching wins championships. It's all about pitching. And then I started to, you know, really see the value of everyday players. And obviously some sort of combination is the best. But it's like, you need to have those everyday players. But when you don't have pitching, you're fucked. Like hitting, you can have a lineup of like no names that just are scrappy and get lucky, and, you know, BABIP is high, and like all these things where it's like you know, you some of the Diamondbacks or the Phillies when they snuck it. Well, the Phillies had a good lineup, but like, you know, when it's like a scrappy team that just is put together well, and they get the Royals, for example, you know, like that, the contact type teams. You can't do that with pitching. You can't like cobble together pitching. You either got guys who can get outs or you got guys who can't. And when you are like, oh my God, we only have one pitcher, you know, those Glavine and Maine pray for rain days coming up like right now. If we don't go get somebody where it's like Senga and what, you know, when you have nobody for this time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times through your rotation, it's like, oh, we're never going to win. We're never going to win. Because it's like it's like the micro and macro version of it. When you watch like Chris Bassett, when he was just nibbling around the plate and you knew as soon as he was going to put one over, it was going to get mashed. That's just like our rotation. It's like as soon as one of these guys, they stink, you're going to get beat up. You're not going to win games. So it's not that I feel like it's like pitching doesn't necessarily make you, but not having pitching will absolutely break you.
Our rotation right now, we have Senga, Quintana, and Luis Severino. So we need to get 2 guys.
I mean, you get 2 guys, and they need to be front end guys. Like none of those, you know, those are not.
You need to hire another doctor for Severino too, so you have to add that into the fucking budget as well.
I like the Severino move to me as long as it's like a flyer, like a low risk, high reward. You know, if they're like banking on him, we're fucked. But those are the guys where it's like at one point, you know, they thought he was going to be the best pitcher in the American League, and obviously it didn't happen, but maybe you recapture that. So I don't mind that move, but it can't be like he's your number 2.
Was Severino the guy that was drunk and then they had to put him in the sauna and it's like the worst thing you should do for a drunk?
No, that's Domingo Herman. We're
good. We're good.
Very different.
Severino's cool. No off the field issues.
Yeah, Severino's good. We're not calling him Sevy, by the way. None of that Sevy bullshit.
Yeah.
Hate that Yankee Girardi era. Everybody with the Y at the end of their name.
Phil, now one last question on Yamamoto I had. And again, I said this to you guys in the text. I didn't know who Yoshinobu Yamamoto was at this time last year. If the Mets don't sign him, it will ruin my entire year for 2024. It's crazy how fucking sports works and how it poisons your brain. How does this work? Because I remember we were saying when we were talking about Yamamoto over the summer, because our season was over basically in June, we knew. How does it work with the posting? Like, I thought it was top bidder wins no matter what because there's a posting fee and the Japanese team kind of gets to decide. Or is Yamamoto just as important in all that in terms of wooing him here?
I mean, it's Yamamoto decides where he wants to go, and then the posting fee goes to the team.
Okay, so
it's the contract and on top of the posting fee going to the team, but the posting fee doesn't count towards your payroll. So,
but the posting fee is negotiated ahead of time, like what?
After the contract.
How does that work? Don't they have you by the balls then?
Well, he has to sign a deal by I think January 4th.
Okay, so he signs a deal and then you send
the posting fee. Yeah.
Is it like a percentage of the contract though? Because then wouldn't that Japanese team just be like, the posting fee is $200 million, right? I mean,
I think there's a minute. I think there's like a set number for a posting fee.
That's my question. Because it can't be like we know you've signed with the Mets. Now we're just gonna hold the Mets over a barrel for the posting fee. That would be fucking crazy.
That would never happen.
I
just remember the Dice K posting fee fiasco. That was like. When the Yankees and Red Sox were in on it, it was like $50 million just to talk to him. That was a whole, you know, that just the posting fee was a whole hot stove of its own. So I don't know. I hate this. It gives me so much fucking anxiety, man. I'll never forget that 05, 06 era where we were the ones like wheeling and dealing, making moves, acquiring Delgado and Beltran and Pedro and this and that. And it was like, oh my God. Now I want to get back to that.
That's because we were at the top of the Ponzi scheme.
Those were good times, baby.
We were spending other people's money.
Those were good ass times. I still remember when they signed Beltran and the Yankees signed Randy Johnson was their big acquisition, and they had the deals and press conferences, and Beltran was like future Hall of Famer, absolute star in the prime of his career, and Randy Johnson was like fighting cameramen as soon as he entered New York. And it was like, holy shit. We finally passed these fucking guys. And it lasted 1 year, literally 1 year, and it ended in the most heartbreaking of fashions. But it did feel like that. And now, even last winter, Kev, Me and you were waking up at 2 a.m. to talk Carlos Correa signing in the middle of the night, and now we're just like, oh, please don't sign with the Yankees. Please don't.
And now
with,
it
anyone
sucks
else.
to be back there. Ugh.
And
you got to think that Senga is a big leg up, no? For Yamamoto,
you would think, and then there was also that but there was a rumor like before the year where it's Japanese players only want to be the only Japanese guy on a team.
I can see that they they want to be the biggest star. I understand that.
I'm thinking like if like Japan was like the fucking blogger central of the planet and they were like the blogging major leagues and I had to go over there, I'd probably want to be with an American just so it's like, dude, where do I get a good slice of pizza, good burger or something like that?
Yeah.
Just someone I could talk my language with. Now he's 5 buy friends if he wants to that speak Japanese, but that's just how I'm thinking from my brain. Speaking of Japanese people, I just have to get this one on the podcast for all the shit that we've had to go through as Mets fans. And even though it sucks not being in the Ohtani sweepstakes, it was so nice to see that report come out that Dave Roberts was fucking giving like the blow-by-blow of the Ohtani negotiations to reporters after it came out that Ohtani did not want any mention of it to come out. And then Dodgers PR people pulled him aside and he did like the Michael Scott like, oh, fuck face. And then he was like, yeah, we're going to like, we're good with that. And they kind of just let it go by. It was so nice not to be the team whose fucking manager ate his shoe right in front of reporters.
Yeah, that shit is. I mean, I know. I guess Ohtani's trying to stop exactly that, like the owners and the managers from talking. But it's like you can't stop the media from like digging shit up and finding things. I can't imagine he's really gonna hold it against you.
Oh, Kevin, they can. Did you see Buster Olney? He was crying on Twitter. He sounded like Frank talking about Buster Olney. He's like, it's so unfair that Shohei Ohtani's not just telling us what happens. We're not getting leaks. We don't have sources. Like Juan Soto got traded like 48 hours before he got traded from all these fucking leaks.
But Buster Olney is just the biggest, floppiest pussy in the world, man. That guy he's just like a little hobbit. He's so annoying. I hate everything about that guy. Ugh.
His name is Buster. That's the thing.
Buster. He goes by grown man called my Buster.
He said he was going to sell his farm in Vermont if the Mets didn't sign who? It was someone who's like it was George Springer. It was like that was early. His Uncle Stevie.
Yeah, fuck that. That was annoying too.
And then he's like, he never sold his farm. He basically pulled a Mad Dog, which Mad Dog. Did you see what the Mad Dog said the other day?
Not good. Not good, Chris. Not good.
He's gonna wish he retired. They're gonna make him retire. That'll be a
that had to be on purpose, right? Like he thought he was being funny.
I don't know, man. These guys are so old now. Like we look at Mike and the Mad Dog with such like their prime years. They were like slipping back in like 2000.
If there were slips back then, if we could get the radio of them in the early 90s talking. They just think it's like they say it and it goes off into the ether and no one's ever
nobody cares. There's no repercussions right now.
Mincy had a couple hundred people watching his show when he got canceled. The internet is a different beast, man. A different beast.
I have this Ohtani question for you guys. So John Heyman put out in his article, Ohtani said last year through a source that he couldn't see himself playing in New York. Do you think there's a chance one of Shohei Ohtani's teammates pulled out a Frank the Tank TikTok and showed it to Shohei, and Shohei came away saying, I could never play there?
Dude, it's not, Frank, but I absolutely believe that the market here is a problem. That, wives and girlfriends talk, guys talk, guys with families are probably like, yo, I'm going to bring my kids here, what do you think? And, I'm sure there are people who are like, oh, fuck that.
Dude,
it's an awful, awful, awful fan base. I hate being associated with it. It drives me nuts. It's like I almost wish I had a different team now because I cannot stand that I'm technically in the same boat as some of these fucks who are just you're just gross people. You're just loud, obnoxious, arrogant assholes who think that they're owed the world, and I cannot fucking stand it. And I've said a million times, if it was me, I'd be like, ugh, gross. I'm not wasting my time there. I'd have to imagine a guy like Ohtani who's seems to be super meticulous with who and what and where and why he's going would be fuck these people.
And I do think the Mets fans are crazy. I think they are crazy for very fair reasons. We all been through the wars, right? But I mean, it's every other month. It's You know, the Mets are booing their fans, and then that becomes a story with Baez. The Giants are booing their fans with Leonard Williams. Julius Randle's booing Knicks fans. It's a New York thing. It's a Northeast thing. Philadelphia had their shit before they become like this powerhouse.
Philly fixed it. Like Philly got the fucking message, and it worked. It worked. Trey Turner turned it around, became an all-star. Alec Boehm was good for like a month at least when he had his thing. Like it is a better. You can. It's crazy, but in the modern era, you can like actually affect the franchise. And if you, as a collective, operate better, the team, the franchise, everything will be in a better spot. But there's just no
such
hope.
A hair trigger with Mets fans. Like they can love you 1 second and then they motherfuck you for the next 3 months, and it's like you don't even let them get the momentum that they need, to be successful at any
sport that you need time and at bats and months and months to get going. And it's so big. It's like Philly is such a small town where it's like it's a small group of people. They kind of like move as one. They're like a little family. It's like we have millions of people. So there could be a couple million of us who are like, we get it and we want to support. And even when, I mean, there are times like I absolutely have changed the way I operate. I'll be sitting at home motherfucking some reliever who's walking the bases, bases loaded. But I'm not going to be the guy who like publicly does it because that person gets tagged now and that person's wife gets tagged now. And that's the world we live in. And while there might be a couple million of us who do it normal, there's a couple million who do it the other way, and they cannot be convinced otherwise. They think they believe that they are like entitled to act that way because like I've been a fan for so long and we haven't won. I can be a fucking piece of shit to these guys, and there's no convincing them. So it's like I don't even want to fight the Frank the Tank fight anymore. But I do genuinely feel like there's probably some, I don't know. If somebody asks. If you're at a fucking baseball gala and the Lindor family is talking to someone and they're like, how's your time in New York been? I think Francisco Lindor's wife is like, it fucking sucks. It sucks dick. That's the answer.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with it, right? We've seen all the shit. We know all the stuff that goes on. And Ohtani, of all people, is going to be like, fuck that. Yamamoto, hopefully it doesn't travel all the way.
All that being said, Uncle Stevie will pay the interpreter not to interpret. He'll be like, just make up some fucking thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, but Kev, you said it perfectly. Like, at some point, it's like we're going to need to see the bag actually go into the free agent's hand and be like, that's the Uncle Stevie we were talking about. Times have changed. 25-year-old pitcher, 3 back-to-back Cy Young triple crown, I believe, pitching triple crown.
I know that. All right. I'm all in on Moto. Let's go.
I'm almost thinking like we need like a nickname for him for the marketing crew, and like not even like it's just like home like the Japanese Pedro or something. Like I don't know if whatever his pitching style is, just give me Japanese insert Hall of Fame pitcher here, and I can convince myself.
I need the animation of Yoshi eating the players and popping them out as eggs as he's striking.
Yes. And other than that, I mean, is there any other free agent stuff or Met stuff that?
No, I'll just say this to send it off. Last year was so bad. I checked out more than I've ever checked out of baseball and the Mets. I didn't watch a game. I didn't care. The Rangers didn't even bother me. The Phillies got me going for like a split second, and then I really didn't care. But no, there's nothing quite like a Yankees hate situation to get me right back in. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm all the way back in, batten down the hatches, man the battle stations. Time to go to war again. Fuck the Yankees and their Goombats fans. Fuck Juan Soto. Unless you're going to come here next year. In that case, I fucking love you to death. Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.